Hello and welcome to day 3 of our 7-day Metabolic Freedom Challenge. I hope you're having a blast here. I love talking about this stuff, and I hope that these lessons are inspiring and educational for you. Today's lesson is all about food isn't sin, burn fat without guilt. And the reason for that title goes back to one of the main problems with traditional diets, and that is they are running on selling you the idea that certain foods are sinful and you should never, ever, ever eat them. And while that may be true for some types of food, like highly processed foods, refined sugars that absolutely wreck your metabolism and your hormones. But it's not true for the whole picture, especially those diets that basically tell you to eliminate entire food groups. One of those diets that come to mind is the most recent, most popular carnivore diet, which tells a lot of people to start out just eating meat. You do get your fruit sometimes, but basically just meat and eggs is like the bulk of that diet. And that is okay, and it works for people to a certain degree. But if you do it improperly without the carbohydrates, your body is going to miss out on specific nutrients that are actually vital to your system. It's also like not a natural way of eating. I mean, we're not supposed to go around in today's world, or not, I don't say supposed to, but in today's world, there's not a lot of people that are just going to sit there and eat meat and eggs for every single meal, especially if you're a social person. You're going to go out and you're going to have takeout meals. You can't necessarily go to the cook at every single restaurant and say, hey, cook me some eggs and steak, because that's all I can eat. Oh, do you have any kiwis, by the way? You know, it's not a grocery store. It's a cook. They have a menu. You got to order what's on the menu most of the time. You can customize it a little bit, and I highly recommend you do when you go out to eat, just to make sure you're getting the best quality of stuff into your system. But you don't have to be that extreme. And it all goes back to the point of being that extreme causes restriction, and restriction causes burnout. And it sells the idea that specific foods or some foods are sinful and you should eliminate them. Eating pasta, eating rice, eating bread, they're not bad. They're not sinful. You're just not eating the right types of them, and you're not eating them at a time when your metabolism knows how to handle that. And it's part of what the Metabolic Freedom Blueprint is all about, is going to get your body primed to be able to efficiently switch between burning carbs for fuel and burning fat for fuel. And it knows what to do with the carbohydrates you are intaking. So it's not that bread is bad. It's actually, there's a whole context and a whole chapter on in the Bible about Ezekiel living off bread and bread only for people that have faith or Christian faith. But you can make bread work for you. It's just that the types of bread that you're using, or the heavily processed bread that you're eating, is the wrong type of bread. It's not that rice is bad or pasta is bad. You're just not eating the right amount or at the right time, or your body doesn't know how to process the excess of that. It's not that white potatoes are worse than sweet potatoes, because they're not. One is more nutrient dense, but both of them are excellent for weight loss. And these are the types of information that you're going to be getting in the Metabolic Freedom Blueprint. And I want you to understand again that this diet is not traditional, and it's supposed to be adopted for life as a system of how to eat, not as a short-term fix for your weight loss problem. Weight loss essentially ends up being a byproduct among other major benefits, but it's not what it's supposed to be doing. We're attacking the root causes of your weight gain and your metabolic slowdown. That's what we're doing here. So some things that kind of come up in my line of practice a lot, and people ask me this all the time, and they go, well, how do I continue to make progress if I feel like I'll ruin that progress every single time I slip up? And the reality is, yeah, you want to have as little slip-ups as possible, but there has to be a way back. And traditional diets don't give you the way back. The compass inside Metabolic Freedom gives you that way back. And on top of that, the feast days inside the Metabolic Freedom Blueprint's Freedom Feast formula allow you to actually have those cheat meals so that you don't feel like you're going to slip up. You get that chance to kind of enjoy yourself, indulge a little bit, 1 to 2 days per week, and then that sets you up to be good the rest of the time. It goes back to that 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, you're going to be on top of it. You're going to be dialed in. You're going to eat all the right foods. And then 20% of the time, you're going to enjoy yourself. You're going to indulge. You're going to have some fun. This is the way life is supposed to work. So why not have a diet that works like that works for you, not against you, that runs with your lifestyle? It makes it effortless as opposed to really trying to fight biology the entire time and fight willpower and then dealing with guilt when you slip up. We're not supposed to be feeling guilty about what happens. We're supposed to be saying, okay, that happened. Now how do we get back? Let's get back on track, or let's fix it. Let's move on, right? The past is only there to distract you. So we don't want to worry about what happened in the past because it stops you from moving forward. All right. Another one that I kind of get all the time is, well, what if fasting hurts muscle or harms my muscle? And it when I fast, I heard that you eat, it eats your muscle. Well, to that, I'm going to tell you that if you're inside the Metabolic Freedom Blueprint, or if you know anything about protein, your muscle, your lean mass, can simply be preserved by eating lean protein and eating enough of it every single day. So as long as you're eating enough protein, your lean mass will not get eaten. In fact, muscle or protein is the last source of energy for your body. Your body realistically wants to eat carbs because it's fast. That's its first fuel source. When it doesn't have access to carbs, it then will reach for fat. And then when it runs out of fat stores, it will reach for protein. and protein is what's inside the muscles. So it's very unlikely, majority of people do not get to protein as a fuel source unless you're fasting for way longer than 24, or I would even say 72 hours. If you're fasting for longer than 72 hours, then yeah, you're going to lose some muscle. But the other half of it is there's studies out there that have now been proven that human growth hormone increases by 2,300%. And I know that's a big number and it sounds ridiculous, but the studies are showing that human growth hormone increases when you do high level strength training during a fasted state. So during your fasting days, if you're got a day where you're doing strength training and you're thinking, oh man, I shouldn't do exercise because I don't have enough energy, because I'm not eating anything, I need food for fuel, I want you to try and throw away that belief, because it's simply not true. Your body will respond to that fasted strength training. In fact, it's actually going to help you build more muscle so that then you can burn even more calories while you rest. Okay, so fasting does not harm muscle unless you are not eating enough protein throughout the day. And the general recommendation, if you've been looking at it on social media and mainstream fitness, is you should be eating at least 1 to 2 grams per pound of body weight of protein per day. And that may seem like a lot, but nowadays with everything out there and how people have gone crazy with hitting their macros, there's so many things out there that can help you hit that amount of protein in a day. The best sources of hitting protein are going to be whole natural foods. You are actually going to get a lot more protein out of them because your body's natural want for them. They can absorb them much better. The other stuff, it takes your body a different route to absorb them. So you can end up having more waste than actual nutrients. Okay. It doesn't take your body it doesn't take an insane amount of protein to maintain muscle, only 80% actually. So even the 1 to 2 grams is actually quite overkill for hitting your protein goals. You only need about 80% of that. So the point goes back to, no, fasting does not harm muscle. In fact, it actually helps improve muscle mass, which is exactly what we want if we're looking to increase our basal metabolic rate, our BMR, so that we can burn more calories during non-exercise activities. We have to understand that exercise is only 5% of burning calories, while your BMR is 70% of you burning calories in a day. So our focus needs to be on lifestyle, and it needs to be on moving the needle in the BMR area, not necessarily just the exercise area. And the best way to move things along in the BMR area is 1, building more muscle, 2, sleeping efficiently, 3, making sure your stress is being handled, 4, nutrition. Okay, those 4 right there will help improve your BMR, and then you can add exercise onto that to further make improvements. All right, so that's it pretty much today. That's what I want to go over. Again, food is not sinful. It's just you're eating the wrong types of foods. And traditional diets tell you that some certain foods are bad. And they want you to restrict, and they want you to eat less and move more, or use some fancy strategy that realistically just burns you out. And the diet is something you should just have that's personal. It's not something you should do for a short-term goal. And that's what the Metabolic Freedom Blueprint is. It's teaching you a system for you to build your diet that fits your lifestyle, that gets you the results that you want. That's it. All right. So all good for today. Tomorrow we have a live Q&A. If you cannot make it, there is going to be a recording. I'm going to be recording it. But go ahead and make sure you have that in your calendar. I'll be sending people the details shortly here, or you should have them already. But that is what we are doing. I'll see you tomorrow for the live Q&A. And if I don't, continue on. You're doing a fantastic job. And remember, you're only one good choice away from freedom. See you tomorrow.